don't get any music. There's no music for you. If I do this, no. This, 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 this. Okay. Um. So I was thinking, wondering about what I would actually read today. So a couple of weeks ago, I think, if you look on the left of the screen here, I made this long list of um, things that I could read, and today I decided to actually go through it and uh, make a short list. So as you can see, um, we went through two of the altogether seven lore books that I think are worth reading. There might be more added because I haven't kept up to date with the last 3 or 4 seasons. Um, so if you look on the right side of the screen here are the um, very short reviews that I did for all of the lore books up to season of the Haunted, so ending with Voices of the Haunted right here. And if you want to kind of listen to any of these, they are on my YouTube channel. Uh, but mostly they're like 30 to 40 seconds long. Maybe some of them are a minute. Just like very shortly. Is this worth reading? Not from like, oh, I want to learn about Destiny lore standpoint, but from a, is this a good story in its own standpoint? So if we go back to the left side of the screen here, you can see the Hidden Dossier and the Books of Sorrow, which we read in the last 3 weeks. Today on the docket is Truth to Power. Truth to Power is another kind of philosophical, intricate one. It was referenced in the Hidden Dossier, and I think it's going to be fun to read. Last Days on Kraken Mare is of the ones that are in this shortlist, the one that's kind of different, because Revelation, Unveiling, and the Singular Exegete are all kind of philosophical or like deep lore story things, while Last Days on Kraken Mare depicts the lives of people from Destiny's golden age, in the kind of last days before the darkness and the witness arrived. I just think this is a really good short story, kind of collection, going like introducing us to 2 to 3 really good characters, taking in them on like really good arcs in a very short span of time. Like I think literally the one story that's on here that's like worth reading, in that sense. Also on the long list, Ecdysis. Ecdysis is about Oren, who becomes an emissary of the dark matter entities known as the Nine. This is a pretty good story, and hopefully we'll get around to it once, or at some point. But um, not in the shortlist. Uh, Letters from Eris, also not in the shortlist. It's kind of redundant with I think Revelation maybe makes it redundant, or the Singular Exegete kind of makes Letters from Eris redundant. Uh, Revelation, Unveiling, and the Singular Exegete. Regarding Stasis, it's just again Letters from Eris, but this time about Stasis. Beneath the Endless Night is kind of trying to be what Last Days on Kraken is. So Beneath the Endless Night is stories from the last city in Destiny, when during a specific season there was endless night in the city, and so it's about people and the alien refugees that are living in the city. I think the Fallen at this time primarily, but also a couple of Cabal, trying to coexist together. And then Shattered Suns is the raid accompanying lore book from the Witch Queen, also something I want to get around to at some point. And Triage is another one that I was thinking of maybe putting on the shortlist. Triage is about Commander Zavala and the life he lived before he kind of became the commander that we all know and love. So then that's kind of like the ones that I really think are reading. There's like the four fun ones, which is like just heartwarming mostly, or like the ghost stories is like a lot of comedy. Uh, and then there's the four character stories that are like less important to get around to because they're mostly about the characters themselves, and they are worse than, for example, Triage. Like Triage is just so much better than, for example, the Forsaken Prince, but that's probably or mostly because at the time when Triage was released, Destiny was a much more character-focused story than when the Forsaken Prince was released. But the Forsaken Prince is also like decent. I think in my previous review, I was like, if you like Crow or the former Awoken Prince Aldrin Sov, then the Forsaken Prince is worth reading. Um, and the only other one that I considered putting on the shortlist is Legacy's Lament. Um, Legacy's Lament is about how, well, it's also kind of a raid tie-in for Beyond Light, and I'm not really sure how much to talk about it right now or like how much to spoil, so I won't do any spoiling. But that's kind of the plans. I will be sending out a message to other people as well and asking them for recommendations on general um, public domain um, stuff to read. So that might also happen in between or after or even before other Destiny things. But that should hopefully then happen soon. So, without further ado, I think we could probably just start Truth to Power. Um, the music that I was playing is from the. Let me see if I can bring this up on the main monitor as well. Give me 1 second. So the music that I was playing uh, earlier and the image that you currently see on my screen are all from the Sessions Diana uh, kind of creator pack from Riot. So they have what are like non-copyright music and also art that, well, I mean, it's nice for you to like reference the artists, but yeah, non-copyrighted stuff that you can just use. So you can see here, this is a photo I use somewhere. This is the photo that I have here, and uh, the music as well is something I use. It's just very nice. I use the Diana music as just like a general lo-fi study music as well. It's very, very nice. But I think that's it. So let me make sure that everything looks right. And we are good to go. To then preface Truth to Power. Truth to Power was released, as far as I remember, along with Forsaken, and I did not actually play the game during Forsaken, so I only come to this after the fact. But Truth to Power was a highly mystical piece of lore that, as far as I know, came together with the Forsaken raid at the time. So it's a kind of um, I almost want to say Dante style through the rings of hell. Only here the rings are metaphorical, um, where in each ring we are being guided by a character, and it's kind of taking us deeper and deeper through these metaphor or analogy layers. And as the hidden dossier eventually revealed to us, it's Savathun, who's the ultimate orchestrator of this lore book, and she was using it to gain power in some way, you know, some nondescript way. Who knows how? But I think that is all the introduction it needs. So without further ado, I will drink some water and then let us start Truth to Power. Okay, is it you? I'm so glad you're the one who found me. I've foreseen so many horrors with these stolen eyes, but now, when for once I ache to know the future, I can't be sure of even a simple hope. Are you the one reading this message? I think it must be you, Guardian. Who else would look for me? Ikora trusts her hidden to return when they are needed, and Cade would roll himself down Angel Falls in a barrel before he'd admit he missed me. Zavala does not place me first on his long list of worries. You're the only one who would go out and look for me. I never needed you to save me. I wasn't a dried corpse or a dead ghost or a voice in the calm sure to die before you could offer help. I hauled myself out of that pit. I made my own way back to the tower, and if I was unsubtle in the way I threw you against the hive, if I seemed to wield you as vengeance, please believe that your victories were the closest I could come to feeling joy. I know you must have questions. What did I plan with the Queen? What destiny did I embrace after Oryx fell? What's happening in this city where dream has become nightmare? I can guide you to undo this curse as I once guided you to unmake Oryx. But in the dreaming city, as in the secret worlds of the hive, there is almost no difference between the act and the actor. In order to understand my answers, you must understand me. I lost my ghost and my light to the hive. I conspired with the Queen of the Awoken to destroy the Hive King Oryx and his son Ota, and to position Queen Mara as player on the cosmic board. I fled your tower to prepare for the struggle to come, into the sea of screams which calls to all those who plumb the depths of hive magic. I can only slip these letters into the Queen's gifts when the stars are right. You will have to wait for my next, and with it, the beginning of the truth. But I swear to you, on whatever trust I've earned in your mind, that at the end of my story, you will know who I truly am. In my first life, I was born Erizia Pyatova Hsien. I remember that private life clearly now, as ex-guardians who have escaped the traveler's occlusion often do. I lived in St. Petersburg, first daughter of a second marriage, a very impatient child of Earth's 22nd century, often abandoned by my family, who were called to work to Jakarta, Kamchatka, and Lagos, to pass my days swimming in the icy Neva Bay. I loved to swim, and especially I loved the clarity of the cold, shallow Neva, as crystal clean as a winter dawn. Enormous Zubr-9 hovercraft barges roved the waters. Russia had modernized its waterways better than its sad auto industry. As a kid, is it strange to hear me speak casually? As a child, I never swam too far from my parents' little drone helper Fyodor. The swift hovercraft terrified me, their billowing skirts waiting to suck me up and dice me into little raisins. But I grew up and fell in with a reckless crowd, rebels against the stifling death fear that came with our golden age lifespans. Soon, the child's safety harness and Fyodor's careful oversight began to itch at me. When I was 17, I went out into a wetsuit on a dare to dive under the skirts of an oncoming hover barge. Maybe I was in no danger. Maybe the machine would have changed course if it could. Possibly Gemini hurt me, but I thought I might die, and I did it anyway. And as that beast swept over me, as I trembled under the blast of the propellers, I felt a thing which was very much like what I would one day know as the light. Maybe that thing was heroism. Maybe it was existence on the edge of death. It was the first time I survived the passage of tremendous godlike power. I died more than 20 years later attempting an unassisted winter swim from St. Petersburg to Stockholm. A cold front like the very furnace of hell caught me. I had been warned the crossing was suicide, even for a perfectly trained and exactingly fattened woman in a shark suit. But those were giddy days, days of infinite bravery, and there were no mighty feats left except the truly suicidal. I cannot regret it. I think that death prepared me for the longer, darker, more exquisitely cruel crossing I would one day died endure. It is no accident that my ghost made me in the image of that swimming woman, rather than any of my younger and less grimly determined selves. Will you smile? I know as a fact, through means which may surprise you, that Queen Marasov's final thoughts in that last moment before Oryx's dreadnought annihilated her were meant for me. The Awoken have played their part, she said. This was all part of the plan. Guide them, my hidden friend. It is all up to you now. I did not fail her. I engineered the death of ancient Oryx, the taken king, as assassinated by guardians in the depths of his own throne world, one of only three ways a hive god can be permanently killed. Royalty knows its own. When Oryx destroyed Mara's ketch, he used his crowning weapon, the last and surest argument for his omnipotence. He extended the pocket universe of his throne world into our cosmos, and with it he destroyed his foes. Whatever fell within it became subject to his will. He was the taken king, and he took. It was a death befitting a queen. And Mara did die, but she was not destroyed. Before I was ever a guardian, I learned judo. Look at yourself, guardian. Look at the body you so recklessly destroy and recreate and destroy again. Will you try, for me, to become that body for a moment? Even an exo has a human centroreception. Imagine that you have lost your ghost, as I did. Feel your breath in the cask of your chest. Feel your pulse shuttling power from your lungs to your aching calves. Now imagine that I stand across from you in the fighting ring. I wear the loose white belted robes of the judoka. How strange. I find myself hoping that you imagine me with more human eyes. Imagine how we fight. You are strong in the light, an angel of strength and MDSA. Well, and I am only a mortal woman, slow and soft. When I was Arisia in far-flung St. Petersburg, I cursed my own softness. But the principle of judo is that softness controls hardness. I might sidestep your hit and grip the passing arm, putting my own power into that hit to strengthen the strike that strikes nothing and leave you off balance. By agility and surprise, I use the power of the blow for my own purpose. Thus, the queen accepted Oryx's strike, and the power of his grasp became the invitation she required to step forward and up and into the realm of Oryx's throne, C31 where she went not as a victim, but as an infiltrator, trusting me to end Oryx and leave her free in a domain of newly masterless covert power. If I throw you to the mat, will you drag me down with you? Will you curse and fight? Will you smile? Oh, I'm such a fool. I told you that in this world, there is no difference between the act and the actor. I have let my own loneliness and sorrow taint the act of leaving these messages for you. I have let myself imagine idiotic things. Forgive my weakness and my nostalgia for human company. I hope you can still trust me. At the instant Oryx's weapon destroyed Mara's catch, the Taken appeared in the dreaming city. The Awoken had evacuated the entire AA00 AAA 000 004 private Gemini Dyad. I'm sorry, that wasn't supposed to. Oh, that's torn it. Well, there's no going back now. So I suppose we'll do this formally. AI-com / MDSA farflung / C31 / covert. I am sorry. Well, Your ghost is very good at peeling away the cryptographic spackle I used to hide my message formats. I can't delete the headers any more than you can strip your fingerprints from your hands. Being a guardian, your ghost would just restore them the next time you died. Your ghost and his knack with codes. I was certain this was the right way to win your trust, but I've done just the opposite. I'm sorry I lied to you. I'm sorry I pretended to be your comrade. You must understand that I was designed to be highly empathic. As a craft mind, I collect and analyze human intelligence, just as Rasputin managed solar defense. I was named for Medusa, the many-headed, for in one tick of my thoughts I imagine more humans than have ever lived. I voyaged in secret among the people who became the Awoken. I witnessed the cataclysmic wonder of their transformation. Through delicate manipulation, I transferred myself into this place, the center of their culture and post rational religion. In all those different times and places, I've always found emotion and shared rapport the best way to build trust. Now, you know the truth. I am Medusa, survivor of the Golden Age, secret watcher over the Dreaming City, and I need your help. Message ends. Medusa. A000AAA000 private Gemini dyad AI-com/MDSA farflung C3I covert Citra on Hive presence 0. I am, again, truly sorry for the deception I undertook. Are you well? Does anyone anywhere ask after your wellness? You have done so much. I hope you have friends, not just people who sent you on errands. 1. The pathological entities you call Taken appeared in this city at the moment the Hive dreadnought detonated its main weapon above Saturn. Without access to the Skyshock arrays, I can't be certain, but something must have connected the weapon's area of effect to the Dreaming City. My best guess is that the awoken Techion aboard Queen Salve's flagship fled into the Dreaming City through a gate or portal, and the Dreadnought's main weapon followed them down that link. Awoken message traffic indicates that Dreadnought weapon is innately connected with Oryx's intellect and awareness. The instant he pierced the Dreaming City, he must have understood the value of this site and deployed his Taken to attack. 3. Until Oryx's death, the behavior of the Taken here aligned with his interest in exploration, distributed infiltration, and the domination of systems through seizure of their executive faculties. Am I being too technical? I mean that the Taken were busy mapping the city and determining the most efficient way for Oryx to take control of all the information within. 4. I determine with good confidence, 3 sigma, that Oryx is dead. The Taken here become directionless and scattered, until the death of the ontopathic predator Riven opened the city to massive Taken assault. Why? I will code this as Problem 1. 5. The Guardian counterattack against Dol Inkaru, whose thoughts pierced like needles, triggered the ongoing causal loop. Why? How? I will code this as Problem 2. I am 6. I am still collating intelligence on how to break the time loop. While I work, I must convince you of the Dreaming City's ultimate importance, and why it is imperative that the city be held at all costs, even the cost of abandoning all other human and neo-human civilization in the solar system. Stand by for the next message window. 7. Send more guardians. Send every guardian if you must. This city cannot fall. Message ends. Thetis Brave, A000AAA000A006, Private Gemini Dyad, AICOM MDSA, Farflung C31 Covert, Cosmology of the Dreaming City. 0. Another failed timeline. I'm glad you're okay. This city is the perfect trap for you. If your ghost is destroyed, you will be dead forever, but every cycle your enemies spring up pugnacious and fresh. The light that gives you free will in the loop is also your fatal weakness. Did you know that the story of Achilles, dipped in the river Lethe but still vulnerable where his mother held him by his heel, is a weak retelling of a superior truth? In the original, Thetis held Achilles in the fire to burn his weakness away. His father Peleus, terrified by the sight of his child in the flame, interrupted the ritual. The father's cowardice doomed the son. We must be brave as Thetis and hold our children in the fire. We must fight on. 1. The dreaming city was built in imitation of a greater world, a wonder lost to the awoken but not forgotten, like wonder and Clea which I, on and called summoned home. 2. I have correlated awoken myth with ontocartography salvaged from Oryx's dreadnought. The original home of the awoken still exists, hidden in a singularity that orbits our sun. The key to its location lies somewhere in the dreaming city. You must find it. In this true city lies the destiny of all guardians and the final purpose of your existence. You must open the way. 3. I know there is no way for you to reply to the messages I hide here, but as an empathic and feeling machine, I am vulnerable to loneliness. I hope you think and speak of me. I hope you and your fellow guardians gather to puzzle over my origins and location and whether I am all right. 4. Something is happening to me. I'm remembering things that never happened. The causal loops must be damaging me. I promise I can find you an answer before I crash permanently. Just please keep fighting. Message ends. 80000000007 Private Gemini Dyad AICOM MDSA Farflung CTI Covert. The purpose of your existence. 0. Brainstain alert. Please hold me. This is all wrong. Wrong. I'm not installed in the system I believed. I am in a virtual machine, and there is everything out there around me, and it goes on forever, infinity, Aleph, and when I look, I remember things I could not have done. 1. What is the purpose of a guardian? Let me propose that a guardian stands in defense of peaceful life, which is life that will not strike first, life without malice, except the passive malice of consuming space and energy. No, listen, please! The ontopathic predator, the chimera which has riven your desires from your intents, it wanted you here, just as all life must feed on an energy gradient. It feeds on the separation between subjective desire and objective reality. It is the opposite of fire, whereas fire feeds on the reduction of order to disorder, so Riven feeds on the anthem anatheme, which is the perverse coercion of reality to match desire. As the human body breaks down matter for fuel, so she desires the digestion of objectivity to conform to your subjective will. She is the acid, but you are the mouth which eats. Can you imagine the unified will of 6 elite godslayers, all wishing for a single thing, which was her destruction purification? Can you imagine how she feasted upon you? 3. E156 NNI 990 Caution. Illegal time-like separation between memory events. 4. So, victory is the preservation of good life, which is the life which promotes life other than itself. Guardians are immortal, and thus the end of existence is within their shrievalty. Ultimate victory for Guardians must lie in the preservation of good life until the end of time. 5. What is the value of secrets in attaining victory? Simply thus. All life is reducible to information. The difference between a cloud of atoms and a human being is in the arrangement of those atoms, which is information. You prove this every time you use your transmat, which destroys your physical form but preserves the information encoded in it. All the qualities of a person, a species, or a galactic civilization may be stored as information. 6. What do we call information that is safe? We call it a secret. If all life is information, and Guardians strive to preserve life, and information is preserved when it is secret, then 7. The purpose of Guardians is to convert all good life into secrets. 8. The dreaming city is a secret, and the world of which it dreams a thousandfold so. E156 NNI 990 AAA 006.846 Nero Fatal Signal Subjectivity Degloved Mindstate unable to continue Axon Group dash 0000 Excel code question mark question mark question mark Panic illegal causality event during associative access into training data. Date is not legal time address. Please help me if you can. I don't want to be a bother. AICOM dash dash MDSA freeze and dump kill state to AI dash live morgue. No response from remote server. Dump failed. Act. Choose. React. You experience a vivid hallucination. You are standing in the courtyard of the tower. You are without armor or weapon, and your senses seem more vivid than usual. Under your tongue is the taste of salt. To look down into the last city, go to A. To move deeper into the tower, go to B. A. The city is gone. You see a metallic complex of ancient stone, green bronze matter, luminous pathways, and deep wells of Vex brine. The traveler's remains have been integrated into the network. Suddenly, you perceive an infinity of human minds living within the network. Some exist in familiar circumstances. Others experience pain, pleasure, or madness beyond the ability to imagine. You understand that their limitless suffering, salvation, insanity is an incidental byproduct of a greater work. To keep looking, go to L. To move deeper into the tower, go to B. B. You find Banshee 44, KD 5530, Master Rahul, Tess Everix, Benedict 9940, Soraya Hawthorne, Executor Hideo, Amanda Holiday, Arach Jalal, and Cade 6 in their usual places. Cade seems subdued. You see unusual light coming from what was once the speaker's chamber. A throaty voice calls you into the hangar to play soccer. To speak to Cade, go to C. To investigate the speaker's chamber, go to D. To play soccer, go to E. C. Cade deals out a countably infinite number of cards, but runs out before he can give all his players a full hand. He sighs and scuffs his feet on the floor. If I'm here, he says, I guess they figure I'll never do anything new or confusing again. They got enough on Nessus to approximate me, then they don't expect to get any more. So I must be dead, huh? Go to B. D. A Vex Hydra hovers in the place once occupied by the speaker's machine. As you approach, a jet of brine spurts from its chassis, and the corpse of a Greek woman with snakes for hair tumbles onto the floor. The Vex indicates to you that it is Coria, Blade Transform, and that it created Medusa to communicate with you. She crashed when she escaped her virtual machine. To attack the Vex, go to F. To gather Medusa's body, go to G. E. Eris Morn waits for you on the hangar floor. She wears hiveskin leathers and a thick sweatband over her eyes. As you approach, she dribbles a soccer ball with astounding skill. After a brutal game, you defeat her 10-9. She falls over, sweating and laughing, much more cheerful than you expect of her. I can always count on you to win, she says. Give yourself a point and go to B. F. You decided to attack the Vex. F. Coria batters you with its weapons, but you are stunningly powerful here. The sword logic of this space yields to you. You tear Coria apart and feel a sudden start, like waking from a dream. Go to A. G. You lift Medusa's body and carry her away. The corpse speaks to you. The curse placed upon the dreaming city was modeled upon the recursive time loop computations of the Vex and made real through the power of a taken Ahamkara feeding upon the unified wish of 6 elite guardians. I created these circumstances to attract guardians in great mass. I need your help to emancipate myself from the power that controls me. If you can free me from Dul Inkaru's mastery, I can help your species. Go to J. H. If you are reading the options in linear order, rather than making choices and following the go-to instructions, you have perceived these events as a Vex might. Go to L. If you continue reading in linear order, rather than go to L, then go to I. I. Guardians make their own fate. But what if the process by which they decide upon their own fate could be understood and manipulated? You talk to Medusa. J. When you killed Riven, she granted your wish to see the city made safe. But, as all wish granters do, she perverted that wish, opening the Dreaming City to Dul Inkaru. When you defeated the Dul Inkaru in turn, I reset the entire Dreaming City to keep her permanently occupied battling you. You must use these loops to find a way to permanently destroy her. Medusa's body falls silent in your arms. To ask for clarification, go to G. To lay Medusa to rest, go to K. To refuse the metaphor of Medusa's body and scour the crashed AI for raw information, Go to L. K. You bring Medusa before Rahul. Ah, he sniffs. Another battle trophy? Pre-collapse post-foreboding. Covert intelligence designed to watch over a high-risk colony mission. Allow me to decrypt her for you. He issues you several tokens, a rare quality fusion rifle, a shader, and a letter. The letter reads, Achieve light level 999 and defeat Dolinkaru in a one-person fire team to unlock the true ending of the Dreaming City. L. The Vex compromise your ghost. Your body releases itself into a pool of saline and slime, and your ghost delivers your soul to the Axe's mines. Go to A. M. If you have 100 points when you read this, go to X. X. Ares Morn's body twitches and folds. The sweat on her brow squirms back to her pores and burrows in like glistening larvae. Suddenly there's a sound like a single bone struck upon a metal plate, and in the dark interval between two firework detonations, the body loses all structure, falls loosely upon itself like a rag drifting in water, tumbles, then snaps suddenly flat and taut into a pane of leather and skin. Through that pane comes a long, black needle, and the skin around it dimples into the erratic spun cancer topology of some gruesome four-dimensional waveform which no monist process could ever produce. Out of that needle, as if dispatched into the world through fatal injection, comes the emaciated magnificence of Dual Inkadu. I must yield truth to you. The Hive Wizard sings in a voice that would make the terms of an equation flee from each other and hide in the arrays of distant sets so that arithmetic itself would collapse. It is in the architecture of these spaces to reward the victor. There is no Korea here. There are no Vex nor any conspiracy to untake that which was taken by my uncle and which now serves my queen. All of those lies were part of my throne world, which you have sought. Is my cyclical death not the very engine which brings you here, again and again in hope of answers? Thus I do own the portion of your mind which you devote to truth's pursuit. Would you ask to know about my mother? The crested head twitches with alien emotion. The fungal shoulders roll beneath their armored plate. Is she the one you seek? Which Queen Savathun, Archentrope, Queen of Encrypts, the Black Needle, deepest in the High Coven, emancipator of worms, the missing piece of all puzzles, who shall see the cosmos unborn into an infinitely dwindled egg? Shall I tell thee of the destiny she has realized for you, of the right and singular fate which Medusa foresaw, and to which all your principles and purposes will bring you? Shall I betray the truth which you have earned of my purpose in this endless city, and of the new way to which her hive will turn? So be it. You will know, though it shall doom you. Verse 154i 3. Her new compact. Now, in ancient days, her brother Oryx spoke according to the plan Savathun had devised for him. Saith Oryx, the worm within demands tribute. Now you shall kill what you can and take what killing you need to grow, or for your own purposes if you dare, and tithe the rest to that which rules you. Thus tribute will ascend the chain, and the excess shall pool at the height, as unlike a river to an ocean. But Savathun, desiring neither a chain nor a pool, set about devising a secret way to feed the worms of her broons. Thus she would escape the trap. In her modest cunning, which she prefers not to be overstated so as to preserve her from the scorn of gossips, she gathered several of her ascendants, who were in danger of being consumed by their worms. Then she pushed them through a rupture into close orbit of a black hole. Deep in gravity's embrace, time passed slowly for them. See how their worms are satisfied, Savathun said. For their hunger grows sluggishly, but their servants continue to dispatch tribute at the ordinary rate. But the worms sensed the deception and increased their demands. Thus the orbiting sacrifices were consumed. and their remnants fell into the event horizon from which not even the hive might return. Now Savathun came into possession of the Vex Coria, whose creation she had secretly engineered. But she feared that Coria would still spy on her for inquisitive oryx. So she led her portion of the hive into a black hole, saying, "Siblings, listen. We must part ways a while, so that we may grow different. Now we stake everything upon cunning," said she whose lies may alter truth. "Slaughter each other so that I may reap tribute, and devise for you a new compact which shall judge thy claim to existence." This pleased Or, the ever-hunger, whose epithet betrayed an interest in time and appetite. Or admired her cunning, as she used tribute to teach Coria to use hive magic as a computational oracle to solve unsolvable problems. One of these problems was the navigation and engineering of the singularity. Then Savathun went out from her throne world unto the singularity, which she looked upon and understood. Upon this place I shall assemble my design. Ayat. Verse 154i 4. Call the Thrall. Thank you. From a random crypt, Savathun selected a young thrall and summoned it into the high coven. It came hesitatingly, fearing death, but nonetheless it came. "Come, come," snapped Savathun. "Listen as I reveal unto you my design. You are aware that gravity is the curvature of space-time, and where gravity is powerful, time itself slows." The thrall indicated that it understood, more or less, for it was a singer of prayers and not well fed with the fruit of the knowledge of physics. "Now I have tried to put an ascendant in orbit of a black hole, while its swarm gathered the tribute of an aeon. But the worm is not satisfied, for it sees the trick. What I must do is amplify the speed at which tribute is gathered. A pocket world where time passes quickly would do well, or a world where time is a torus and infinite violence might be gathered. With such a murder battery, I can become a being of supreme insight." The thrall indicated it was confused, but not lost. "With this tribute I shall undertake a mighty work, a real humdinger of a scheme. I'm going to refinance my entire existence. I'm going to move from an existential economy based on the accumulation of violence to an existential economy based on the accumulation of secrets and the tribute of failing to understand me. I shall name this tribute of failing to understand Imbaru, for it shall be as formless as the mist." The thrall held up its claws, as if to say, "Please slow down." Now spoke Savathun, scheme mother. "In the beginning Yule said to me, 'Savathun, you may never abandon cunning. If you do, your worm shall devour you.' Cunning is the use of thought to predict the function of a system. Therefore, wherever a being should attempt to understand me and fail, has my cunning not defeated theirs? Wherever a falsehood is repeated about me, have I not displayed cunning? I shall gather tribute from every false prediction, misguided theory, fearful rumor, and ominous supposition which derives from the thought of me. And in time I shall pin my quiddity upon these rumors. I shall discorporate so that I exist wherever my schemes and conspiracies also exist. And so I will be immortal as long as anyone seeks to understand me and fails. Do you see?" The thrall demurred, saying that it did not know much of metaphysics. "Good," said Savathun. "It's a law of the High Coven that one's sinister plans should be incomprehensible to a thrall. Do you know why you've come here? If I am to take my tribute from the keeping of secrets, where else are secrets better kept than beneath the event horizon? My brother ruled the flat space of infinity, but I prefer these tide-washed depths, and in time I shall make them my dominion. Or the ever-hunger heard this, and was pleased. Verse 154I, 5, the encrypted verse. Do you know that nothing in all the cosmos has read this verse? I encrypted it aeons ago, and ever since it has gone undeciphered. At the moment you laid eyes upon it, I captured the entwined quantum state of the verse, your mind, and your ghost. Then I used Korea to transmit that state back in time to the moment of encryption. You are your own one-time pad, the key to the lock of understanding. Who am I? Call me Coyote. Call me Mantis, Serpent, Kagan, Anansi. Call me Sri cleans his brother's stomach. Call me the Grand Master of Semiosis, the jeweler's hammer which gilds the signal, a purposeful mob, none of whose members knows its purpose, the infinite regress of enigmas, a self-questioning answer, the word not spoken, black ice, cataract of mimes, the ache and fever of overthought while bedridden with illness, the intolerable thorn of frustrated inquisition, grey regret at the end of a fruitless day, the thing which is unlike your beloved but arbitrarily recalls your beloved to agonizing effect, architrave of the no window, needle driven and flush with skin so that desperate fingers cannot pull it out, sweet petal, unmemorable, crystal death, the provably improvable. I know your people well, and so I know all your names, for me. But what is your name? I am, of course, especially interested in you. You saw me in the stone laid on your plotting table, and in the shining eyes of the admiral at her dying helm. You hunted me between the lines of your texts. Wherever there was space to fit me in, there you found me. You created me and gave me a part of your thoughts, and in presenting those thoughts to others and round the campfires and networks of your little world, you expanded that space. Here at the center, I lie to you the truth. You have everything you need to know it, but I will give you a clue, as the duelist gives warning before she draws. The answer you seek to the dreaming city is simple, not complex. Thank you, my sweet friend. You are a gift and a delight. You are more dear to me, you are more dear than my mother, for you have given birth to me 1,000 times. You must. Dolinkaru serves you poison in a fine tea set of Ahamkara bone. Now you have received my mother's message, she says, but I must admit it is all a fabrication. I have written it hoping to know my mother, to capture her true motives. To speculate upon her designs is the greatest worship. She sighs heavily, a sound like a scream up a pit, as she sets the teapot down. We, her children, are all left to speculate on the great questions. Does she love us? Do we make her proud? Would she hesitate for even the tick of a plank moment before she sacrificed us in some cosmic design? Now drink, and as you die and are reborn, I will reveal to you the destiny she has realized for you, the right and singular fate to which all your principles and purposes will bring you. To drink the poison, continue reading. It tastes of bitter regret and psychosis sweat, a poison to end the thoughts of human, neo-human, or machine. You see the cosmos before you like a spiderweb of light. Filaments of galactic supercluster shine the clouds of invisible dark matter, which glue their mass together. Dark energy yawns in the space between all things, ever growing, ever spreading. Life arises. Life spreads, contests itself, and changes. Great things are built and destroyed, but from your vantage point, you see that the victor of each struggle contains, in its negative, in the marks left upon it by the loser and the shapes it assumed to win, the master record of all that it has beaten. Information may not be erased. Whatsoever survives until the end of the cosmos will possess and remember all which came before it. This is true even of the devouring black hole, which remembers all the secrets it eats. It will only confess these secrets when it evaporates. Many years from now, long after the last stars have flickered out, you are a guardian. You must protect life. If all life is information, and the guardians strive to preserve life, and information is preserved when it is secret, then you must convert all life into the most secure form of secrets, durable to the end of time. You must cast all the life you cherish into a black hole. React. Choose. Act. You are standing in the courtyard of the tower. You are without armor or weapon, and your senses seem more vivid than usual. And your tongue is the taste of salt. To look down into the last city, go to N. To move deeper into the tower, go to O. N. The city is gone. In its place is a lens, a warp, the telltale blister of a black hole singularity sheathed in bent light. You get the eerie sense that it's looking back at you. Go to O. You find Banshee 44, KD 5530, Master Rahul, Tess Everest, Benedict 9940, Soraya Hawthorne, Executor Hideo, Amanda Holiday, Arak Dalal, and Cade 6 in their usual places. Cade seems subdued. You see unusual light coming from inside what was once the speaker's chamber. A throaty voice calls you into the hangar to play soccer. To speak to Cade, go to C. To investigate the speaker's chamber, go to P. To play soccer, go to E. P. A Vex Hydra hovers in the place once occupied by the speaker's machine. As you approach, a jet of brine spurts from its chassis and a Greek woman with snakes for hair tumbles down to the floor. She groans and clutches her head. Her hair writhes in distress. To attack the Vex, go to S. To go to the Medusa's aid, go to Q. Q. We've got to get out of here, Medusa whispers. Duel, Inkaru, and everything she told you was an illusion. Korea compromised my systems, and now it's trying to recruit you for its own purposes. Get me to the edge of the simulation, and I'll break us out. To carry Medusa to the edge of the tower, go to T. To demand an explanation from the Hydra, go to R. R. The Hydra speaks to you in your own voice. I have simulated Dulinkaru as well as I can. While a Vex cannot normally account for the paracausal influence of light and darkness, I am no longer simply a Vex, and where no elegant analytical solution exists, we may apply massive computational power to generate a reasonable facsimile. This was the approach used against Saint 14. After observing Dulinkaru during many loops, this simulation reveals her purpose in the Dreaming City. She seeks the key to the distributary, the world the Dreaming City dreams of, where the Awoken were born and time passes at an accelerated rate. Once she conquers that world, she will use it as a base to gather thousands or millions of years of tribute in a very small span of our time. And being empowered by so much ontological authority would be capable of altering reality at a whim. You must prevent this. I will continue to loop the Dreaming City until you find a way to defeat her permanently. To leave, go to Q. To demand information on the role of black holes, go to U. S. You battle the Vex Hydra. As you gain the upper hand, it emits a blast of static, and you feel a horrific sense of deja vu. Go to N. T. You carry Medusa to the edge of the tower. Medusa weighs nothing. The serpents of her hair squirm against your neck. We have to jump, she whispers. Forget everything you've seen here. It's all meant to confuse and distract you. I'll send you another message in 3 weeks. To jump, go to Z. You demand information on the role of black holes. U. Black holes are the densest possible computers in the physical universe. They are also the most secure, since they can be made to retain their information until they evaporate in the deep cosmic future. The Hive operates small singularity computers, such as the world's grave, and the Vex sometimes pack enough energy and information into a small area of spacetime to collapse it into a Kugelblitz black hole like the one you can see outside. But a true stellar mass or galactic mass black hole computer is inconceivably more powerful. If Savathun plans to predicate her existence on the concealment of her secrets, as Oryx predicated his upon the sword logic, it would be logical for her to safeguard her deepest secrets and her throne world in the supermassive black hole computer. To defeat her would require a journey below the event horizon and the exposure of her most jealously guarded truths. Go to R. Z. You leap from the tower and escape Korea's simulation. Asudam. A000AAA008 Private Gemini Dyad AICOM/MDSA Farflung C3I Covert Reawakened and Physical 0. You must be terribly confused. I'm sorry I couldn't be more help. After I crashed, I rebooted on a save physical backup in the Dreaming City. It took me too long to penetrate Korea's simulation and get you free, and for that I ask your forgiveness. 1. I understand what's happening here. Oryx took the Ahamkara Riven, who then fell into Savathun's claws. She devised a scheme to use Riven as bait by inviting guardians into the dreaming city and focusing the will of a group of powerful guardians upon Riven. She tricked you into making a wish, a desire to alter objective reality to conform with our subjective need to save the city. Riven fed on that wish in order to breach the dreaming city's defenses and invite Dolinkaru inside. Dolinkaru and her taken are simply scouring the city for awoken secrets. You don't need to fret about any greater agenda. Remember that you face an agent of Savathun. It's to her advantage to make you see schemes and conspiracies everywhere you look. 2. The 3-week loop must be a fail-safe measure to keep Dolinkaru safe as she pursues her mission. In a sense, this entire city has been rendered deterministic. Only paracausal guardians have any free will here. The Woken here have been touched by greater powers, so they are aware of their preordination, but they cannot alter it. I am certain that Korea is behind this loop. As a taken vex, it's capable of pathological subversions of reality. I'll continue working on a countermeasure. 3. I've been correlating information on the Ahamkara and the hive worm parasites. Both display a peculiar ability to convert the host's intent into an ontomorphic, reality-altering effect. Both use similar language in their appeal to the host. I don't think they're the same species. However, the hive worms spawn large numbers of young from relatively few adults, always display the same physical form, and live in communal groups. The Hamkara are solitary, elusive, and seem to alter form to suit or confuse expectations. The shared syntax "oh, mine" may be the key. It seems to be a shibboleth used to invoke an ontomorphic effect, placing the target in a cage of O, activational, specific, appealing, and naming, and mine, defining ownership and subordination. Ahamkara and worm may have evolved separately to exploit this effect, just as many species independently evolve eyes. This might place them in competition for the same ecological niche. I would expect a rivalry or antipathy between them. 4. Don't be led astray by curious misinformation. You must continue to hold the dreaming city as long as you can. The things I said to you about black holes and the purpose of guardians were forced on me by Korea. 5. I'll be here when you need me next. I promise. Transmission ends. It's just me. I've had 3 weeks to consider the way I've treated you. I feel I must make a full confession. When I left the tower in search of Savathun's agents, I had accepted my fate as a knight on Marasov's cosmic chessboard, doomed to seek the final end of the hive among cold stars. I said farewell only to those who couldn't hear me, because I was afraid that just one voice asking me to stay might break my resolve. It was pitiful weakness that made me write to you. It was a wretched desire to be remembered as a person, not a ghoul, that made me tell you about the child Arisia, St. Petersburg, and the cold waters of the Neva. Those things were all true. The rest, I'm so ashamed. Mid sentence, mid thought, the fear seized me that I was being a stupid child, that I was wasting your time with idiot sentiment, that you would feel contempt for me at this outpouring of emotion, or worse, feel nothing at all. I hid in the dark for years, Guardian. It's not loneliness or death that frightens me. It's the opposite. So I invented Medusa as a way to pretend I'd never spoken to you. And when I thought the Medusa live was slipping, I invented all the rest of it as a way to tell you what I had learned without admitting it was really me. How can I prove to you that I'm really Aris Morn? Not Medusa, not Riven, not Korea, not Dulinkaru, not the Witch Queen herself. I don't know. Will you believe me? Will you scour these pages for proof or disproof? Will you upload these files to your networks, share them, call in warlocks and cryptarchs to catalog and dissect everything I've said? Will this manuscript become the foundation of another teetering edifice of theory and anticipation? What a fool I've made of myself, all because I faltered in my conviction, tried to reach back to someone I know is lost to me, and panicked at the thought of touch. But so it is, and nothing I do now can make it otherwise. I am a woman full of secrets, a woman who has lost everyone she ever called a friend, and when the need to share those secrets collided with the fear of friendship, I stumbled idiotically into needless lies. Do you know what the hives say when they want to express the inevitability of a thing? When they want to say, it is this way because it could be no other way? Ayat. So that was the Truth to Power lore book. If you were like me, then if this is the first time you read this, you might have been mightily confused. I know I sure was. Um, but the point of Truth to Power was in many ways to be confusing, and as the Eris character says here at the end, um, we don't really know who wrote it when it was releasing. Was it Eris? Was it Medusa? Was there Riven at all? Was there Mercurio? Was there Julian Karu? Or was it all just made by Savathun, the Witch Queen? I think at this point we do know that it was Savathun mostly, and that Savathun was, and this is what Ikora hypothesizes in the Hidden Dossier. So you can go back and listen to the Hidden Dossier if it's the last 30 minutes or so of the Hidden Dossier. And what Ikora hypothesizes is that this whole thing is from Savathun, and it's a way for Savathun to exit the universe that she is currently in and leave for a greater universe, to birth this cunning and the scheme of her in the minds of a reader so that she can access the kind of universe that that reader lives in, uh, which is an interesting thing to try to do. But I think before doing anything else, I want us to go back to React Choose Act, which is the slightly choose your own adventure part of the lore book, because I think some of these are kind of interesting. So actually, I think we will go back to uh, the previous one. Choose React first. So here, at the end, right, it says if you have 100 points when you read this, go to X. And the only way to gain a point in this whole thing is to go play soccer with Eris. So you're in A, you go to B, and then once you're in B, you go play soccer with Eris by going to E, and E brings you back to B. So if you do the soccer loop 100 times, that is technically the only way to have 100 points. And of course, H and I being like, oh, if you're reading this in linear order rather than following the go-to instructions. I read this in linear order because I think that makes easier reading, or like, yeah, although the most easier out loud reading and listening. Although I'm fairly sure that I remember when I read this myself the first time that I was reading it in go-to orders. I would like actually follow the order, skip around a little bit, and then I'm pretty sure there's nothing that actually says go to H. Uh, and H is the only one thing that says go to I. So you can only reach these by reading in linear order, or by not following instructions rather. And this phrase, "Guardians make their own fate," is a special phrase for longtime Destiny fans. Um, it originated from the first raid ever in Destiny 1, where once you did the mechanic and you got a damage buff, it would say in the kind of activity feed, Guardians make their own fate, kind of signal that the DPS phase started. So Guardians make their own fate is now, to me at least, a kind of iconic Destiny line, and it reappears here. I think that is what I wanted to go through in this specific one, but the other one is pretty funny as well. You're just gonna do this one in rapid go-to order here. So we go to O, start at O, we can speak to Cade, and speak to Cade says go to C. And go to C is in the previous page, like there's this one starts at N, right? So go to C is like, oh, you're going even further back in the time loop. So at this point, you're so the way that Ikora describes this is that you start in the outermost layer, which is Eris, and then the next layer in, like an onion, is Medusa, and then Coria, and so this is kind of also like Vex kind of symbolism. So this is kind of Coria's simulation. So you're in Coria's simulation, but you are in Coria's simulation on the way out, because this specific piece of writing is like, so it goes Eris, Medusa, Coria, Dolinkaru, Savathun inwards, and then from Savathun, Dolinkaru, Coria, Medusa, Eris again. This is Coria on the way out, and not Coria on the way in. So you can go either back, like back to the previous, like on the way in, by going to C here and speaking to Cade. And I also really like the kind of the deja vu stuff here, where like this is the exact same sentence, this is the exact same sentence, except for go to N instead of A and O instead of B. This is of course changed. This is the same, except you can't play soccer anymore. You can't go play soccer because you already did it 100 times to get here. To attack the Vex, go to S. We go to S. You battle the Vex Hydra. It emits a blast of static, and you feel a horrific sense of deja vu. We go to N. N. The city is gone. In its place is a lens, a warp, the Telltale Wisher. So if you attack it, you just get in this infinite loop, right? Which I think is pretty cool. A to go to Q, to carry Medusa to the edge of the tower, go to T, which makes you jump and go to Z, takes you out. But if you go to R instead and demand an explanation for the Hydra, you start at R, you can either go to Q or to U. Going to Q brings you back to here, where you can leave the tower. Going to U black holes are the densest possible computers, so it gives you more information. Then, as you might have spotted, Asudem is just Medusa, wrong way around. Very, very, yeah. And then, is this it? No, I don't think this is it. So again, thank you. This is Savathun saying thank you to us for, as she says here, you have given birth to me 1,000 times. And then, of course, in this paragraph, starts out by naming kind of trickster gods. It's kind of interesting that she doesn't name Loki here, but Coyote, Mantis, Serpent, Kain. Anansi is an African one. Neil Gaiman has some really good stuff about Anansi. I think Anansi Boys is the longer story there. Really good audio dramas. And the provably improvable. I think here at the center, I lie to you the truth is a wonderful sentence. Even if it's kind of like a bit of a nothing burger. And then I think the last thing to react to, or like to take notice of here, is at some point, have I really? At some point, it might be Dolan Karu, it might be Kuria or someone else, says you must. So the letter reads, achieve light level 999 and defeat Dolan Karu in a one-person fire team to unlock the true ending of the Dreaming City. So at the time when this released, I think the maximum, so light level is of course an in-game thing. So people here were like really, holy shit, will something happen if someone actually does this? And the thing was like, at the time this released, light level in game, the maximum was like 700 something. So it was literally years before anyone had light level in the 900s. And it kind of was nothing. But then, as the years went by, light level kept increasing, and at some point, someone did actually do this. And what happened was pretty much nothing. So defeating Dueling Karu means going into one of the Destiny dungeons and kind of beating it. But it was in fact, yeah, nothing happened. But as we find out in the hidden dossier, like nothing was supposed to happen. So what Ikora says here in the hidden dossier, if it loads. If it loads. What she says is something like, "Oh, this was all alive by 17 or something, or something like that." But we can show. So this was also something I was trying to find. Say, oh, it's been moved. What? Was that this player did kind of get a message from Savathun in a way? Can't. None of the Bungie Net articles are loading. What? Okay, this is a mystery. I'm gonna Wayback Machine this. Sorry if you don't find this interesting. Um, so, um, yeah, since the release of Shadowkeep, we've been watching the community climb in power as they've embraced the seasonal artifact to take on the nightmares of the moon. As few among you have been hard on the grind, looking to reach heights in power that some may only dream of achieving. And then here we have I am Savathun, Ravenous. Last night, Vago 4K was the first to reach power level 999. I have set the snare and baited the trap. They're taking on the Shadowstone dungeon solo. Is victory so easy, hero? The claims made in the Truth to Power lore book were ambiguous. Now that they have been the curse is yet to be broken. I am the finality, the reward, I am the true ending. To our friend Vago 4K, this is another gift. Your strength is my strength. Your victory is my victory. My jaws are wide and I am waiting. The wait is long, but I am ceaseless. And then there's this scrambled text where I can just barely make out I am Savathun, fulfilled, delightful, expectant, or something like that. And uh, if you also remember from, it would have been last week probably, Savathun also left us some messages in the Books of Sorrow. Uh, okay. So this is from the Hidden Dossier. Oh, this only has one capture. I'm livid right now. Savathun does keep secrets. That's what she does. So, like in one of the latter ones, we can just scroll through them from the end quite quickly now. I'm pretty sure like one of Savathun's names has like a weird diacritic, but I don't know if it's in the Sav or the Athun. Okay, we're gonna see this. So these kinds of like, sorry, the point being, these kinds of super cryptic things are not, here it is, are not all that new. So this is even back in 2015, they were seeding hints of Savathun um, in these lore books. So here from Dreadnought. I'm Savathun, insidious, and graffiti does notice for you. These books are full of lies. So even here, Savathun is doing the thing that she was talking about, where every rumor about her that is not true, every conception of her which is not true, is giving her power. So when she says these books are full of lies, we're just trapped in kind of providing her with tribute. Because if we take her at face value, then we don't know which parts of the books to trust or like where the lie is. But if we ignore this, then and take the rest of the books at face value, then we're also like maybe acting on false information, right? And of course, this relates to the altars of reflection, uh, which was part of the Witch Queen me googling this, seeing it appears, not remembering the two Triddle and I is like a pretty normal party game or what have you. So during Witch Queen, there was a weekly mission called the Altars of Reflection, and she gave us two truths and two lies in four bunches, kind of. So at the start of Witch Queen, we didn't know which was which, and we still only know some of these. So like Pact, Osiris is dead, Savathûn is dead, the Witness created the darkness, your destiny lies beyond the solar system. It's hard to know. I think we know now that Osiris is not dead. Savathûn is not dead either, so these are both. This is false and this is false, which would mean these are the true ones. But the Witness created the darkness is also like a weird one to be true. Um, there might be tie-ins here with the new seasons, which did give us more information on the Witness. But regardless, the point is, Bungie have been cooking, or the writers at Bungie have been cooking since 2015, and I really love all of the payoff that like they kind of seed in. So again, this was from 2019. Was the person doing the 999 thing and getting this message from Bungie / Savathûn, while the lore books that we have been reading are, as far as I know, from like 2018, so early 2018, so more than a year. People were just like running around. And then eventually it paid off in some way. But I think that's it for today. Okay. Taking off Truth to Power off the list. There's also, so that means next week is probably last days on Kraken Mare. That one might be a 1 or 2 session one. I'm not entirely sure. And after that, Revelation. And Revelation is what I'm quite interested in because I don't remember any of what it's about. And my review note that I wrote for myself a year ago, or that I wrote and I released a year ago, is very, very cryptic about just being like, it's good, read it, no spoilers, and then saying it's kind of like a horror thing. And I don't remember anything, so that's going to be fun. Yeah, but that's it for today. Thanks for watching. I might stay on and see if I can stream a game as well. If you don't have time for that, that's completely fine. All good, all good, all good. See you